Hey all you future Spartans, welcome to Northside Middle School. We can't wait to see you and meet you all. In the next several minutes, our hope is that you'll gain a little bit of an understanding about what Northside is all about. By the end of this virtual open house, which will include a tour of the building, we want you to know at least 3 things. Your student will be supported and challenged academically. NMS is a safe and positive learning environment, and we believe school should be fun, so get involved. Now let's get started by meeting some of the faces of the main office and guidance office. In the main office, as you enter Northside, you'll see Mrs. Bowes or Mrs. Ryan. Mrs. Dixon is entering her 15th year as principal of Northside, and I'm Mr. Burton, and I'll be entering my 7th year as assistant principal. In the guidance office, you'll see Mrs. Burbrink at the front desk. The counselors are Mr. Ousley and Mrs. Bowen. Mr. Ousley will be the 7th grade counselor, and Mrs. Bowen will be the 8th grade counselor. Mr. Ousley will be your student's counselor for both years during their time here in middle school. You'll also see the Dean of Students, Mr. Lax, and his role here at Northside is to help students navigate the waters, both socially and academically. Mr. Lax is also the key driving force behind our yearly 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. So as 7th graders, you'll hopefully get the opportunity to start fundraising early so that we can make sure that as many students as possible take advantage of that opportunity. Let's talk about some safety items real quick. All doors at Northside are locked once school begins, except for door number 1 at the main entrance off of 27th Street. Visitors will come in and use the intercom to talk to someone in the main office. You'll need an ID when visiting Northside. Speaking of safety, finally, Northside prides itself on having as many caring adults in the building as possible, and one of those definitely includes our school resource officer, Officer Cap. He will be in his 3rd year as our SRO, and his office is right by the Commons, but more frequently, you'll see Officer Cap wandering the halls, or his favorite place is either the cafeteria or our family consumer science class, where he's known to make and eat most of what he makes while he's down there.
One of the reasons that we have open house every year is to help students get used to what it will be like when they move from elementary school to the middle school. And one of the main differences at Northside from the elementary schools is we have 6 teams. So the approximately 850 students are divided up into 6 different teams, and we have 3 teams on the 7th grade level and 3 teams on the 8th grade level. So the 3 teams on the 7th grade level, which is what you would be interested in, are the Navigators, Trailblazers, and Tyros. And they have a bell schedule where you go to classes 9 periods a day. One of those is a 30-minute lunch, and the other classes are either 45 or 50 minutes. So one of the schedules for the Tyros have 6 core classes, and so their schedule is 2 core classes, followed by 2 exploratory classes, another core class, lunch, and then end the day with 3 core classes. So the core classes for the Tyros are social studies, math, science, 2 language arts, and a world language. The Navigators and Trailblazers are on a slightly different schedule. The Navigators and Trailblazers start out with their exploratories first, and then they have 4 core classes, lunch, and 2 more core classes. The reason that we have the teams here is to make this large building divided up into smaller groups. So when you're on a team, let's say you're on the Navigator team, all of your lockers and your teachers are on one hall. The science teacher is on a different hall, and your exploratory classes are on a different hall, but overall it makes the large building into a much smaller building. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about are our exploratory and elective classes. Band and choir are electives. And so if you choose to have band or choir, then you have that for all year long. The other class that's the exploratory is a wheel. And so you get to explore different subjects for 9 weeks at a time. Art, music, industrial tech, family and consumer science are some of the choices. And every 9 weeks that class changes. If you don't take band or choir, then you have 2 of those all year long.
Welcome to Northside Middle School. Thank you for joining us on a tour. This is Mr. Burton and I'll be your tour guide, giving you some insights as to what Northside is all about. Let's talk about some arrival and departure procedures at Northside Middle School. In the morning, doors open at 7:15 a.m. Bus riders will come in door number 1 off of the 27th Street bus lot. No parent drop-off in this lot. Walkers can also enter door number 1. The parent car line, parents will enter the back drive off of 27th Street and students can enter through door number 13. After students are dropped off, parents can exit that lane, turning either left or right. Please do not drop students off in the faculty lot in the back. Bike racks are located in both the front and the back of the building. As far as departure is concerned, school ends at 3:05 p.m. Parent pickup starts along Maple Street and wraps around 27th Street with cars turning right into the back drive. Students will exit door number 13 to find their car. Bus riders will catch their bus outside of door number 1. Most bus riders will walk to the Columbus North bus lot with Northside staff. Some bus riders will catch their transfer bus to Columbus East and then continue on home for the day. For any additional information with arrivals and departures, please contact the Northside main office. You can contact either Mr. Burton or Mrs. Dixon, and the phone number is 812-376-4403. So now we'll kind of tell you what a typical day here at Northside looks like. The doors for students open at 7:15 in the morning. Students will either head into the cafeteria to have breakfast, or 7th graders head up to Gym 1. 7th graders will be dismissed from the cafeteria or Gym 1 to head to their first period around 7:42, with first period starting at exactly 7:50. Northside is divided up into 3 teams per grade level, 3 7th grade teams and 3 8th grade teams. Each team has their own hallway. Most students' classes will be on that team hallway, including their lockers. Depending on what team your student is on, that dictates a little bit of how their schedule is made up. If your student is a tyro, they'll start out with 2 core classes, 2 related arts classes, another core class, lunch, and end the day with 3 core classes. If your student is a navigator or a trailblazer, they'll start out with 2 related arts classes, and then they'll have 4 core classes, lunch, and end the day with 2 more core classes. 2 of your students' classes will include related arts. Of those related arts, 2 could be electives, one of which being band or choir, which take place all year long, and the others could be exploratories. Examples could include family consumer science, art, ITE, or health and PE. Next, it's time for lunch. Let's move into the Northside cafeteria. The Northside cafeteria will have many options each day, one of which includes a daily salad bar. After we finish lunch, let's continue our tour. As we move up the hallway, we enter the Northside Library. The Northside Library is home to thousands of books. After we move past the library, we enter the 7th grade side of the building. 7th grade side of the building consists of 3 team hallways. The first floor is the Navigator Hall. The second floor is home to the Tyro and Trailblazer teams. Every student's locker at Northside is located in their team hallway. Every 7th grader will have their own locker. Each locker has its own combination. We understand there's some apprehension behind how to open a locker, but don't worry, we'll figure it out together and you'll have it down in no time. Student passing period time is 5 minutes. This gives students plenty of time to get to their locker, exchange items from one class to the other, and get to the next class. Here's an example of a 7th grade math class. Here's an example of 7th grade social studies. Here's an example of 7th grade language arts. Here we are in a 7th grade science classroom. Northside consists of 2 gymnasiums. Here's a look at gym number 1. Thank you for visiting Northside Middle School, where we are 6 teams, 1 school. We can't wait to meet you.